Good morning, everybody. It is July 19th, and you're watching the Overnight Action Report right here from MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. And welcome. It was quite an overnight session. We saw the Japanese markets actually trading in a tight range. You can see that they're in the battleground, as we call it here at MarketStream, between the 20 and 50-day moving average. This is where the bulls are really kind of setting themselves up. They have to basically stay above this 50-day, and they have to challenge and get above that 20-day. That tells me the bulls are still in control, but there is some sort of uncertainty catalyst that the bulls are waiting for. And you know what it is? It happens to be a couple things. One is they're going to see if the yen strength continues, or let's say the US dollar weakness is going to be continuing. That's been the real story right now in equities. It's really been hurting exporters in Japan, but they're holding up. So the strength in the yen, again, putting some pressure on exporting names. What's also raised the bull's eyebrows, so to speak, is the fact that the Bank of Japan, they're going to be coming out with their statement from their meeting on Thursday. Now, there's been quite a bit of chatter about what expectations are out of that meeting. First of all, one of them is that they're going to up their forecast for GDP. That would be a positive. But there also is the potential for them to lower their inflation forecast. So you have a little bit of a mixed message. Higher growth, lower inflation. This is starting to make sense. I call it the world by Amazon, okay? We'll talk a little bit more about what I mean about that, but bottom line is efficiencies in the marketplace, they're here, and they're here to stay. And so maybe goods and services aren't going to cost as much. That's going to put pressures on other segments like wage inflation because, people they're being replaced or optimized by machines. And so we're seeing this, but we'll have to see how that chatter is. But you clearly see that the Nikkei is in a battle zone. You see that the yen-dollar pair, U.S. dollar is coming down, yen's getting stronger. Since it's in the denominator, that means that this pair is starting to move to the downside. It's moved through its 50-day moving average and 20-day moving average. So bullish on the yen, bearish on the dollar. That's going to put further pressure on exporters. Let's see if that starts to put pressure on the Japanese markets. Now, taking a look at the EEM, which is the Emerging Markets ETF that trades here in the States, it's up 34 cents. What's notable here is that you're seeing a lot of Chinese A shares being moved into the EEM. We talked about that about 2-3 weeks ago, that the MSCI is going to be moving in China into the emerging markets. Now, it is kind of funny that you think of China as an emerging market, almost number one, number two, but their shares are being represented. What's notable in Shanghai overnight is a couple things. First of all, they traded at levels right now that we haven't seen since April. You can see that we're up 43 points at 3,230 on the Shanghai Composite. What's also extremely notable is the injection of capital. 140 billion yuan was infused in reverse repos into the markets. That is the biggest push that we have seen in months. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen a push like this since 2016. So huge infusion of capital, really got some enthusiasm in the bulls. Let's see how FXI is going to open up this morning. It's up 1.15% pre-market. That's a big boost for this large cap index for a lot of stocks that trade in China and in Hong Kong. Speaking of Hong Kong, you saw up 0.5% or 147 points. Again, you're seeing that infusion of capital. Really, the markets are starting to look for growth. Good, solid results here in the States in a lot of firms, but domestic names really aren't moving to the upside with huge conviction. That was notable by looking at the Russell 2000. That was the biggest laggard of all the indices. The large caps moving to the upside, and those are mostly large caps here in the States that are multinational. But back to Hong Kong, again, seeing financials, property names moving to the upside, that's a positive. India got back on track. You saw that really the tech consulting sector started to move to the upside. Tata Consultants, one of the most notable one, Infosys, all moving to the upside. You continue to see that the bulls are still very firmly in control after a big pullback yesterday. We're going to watch this one closely. Also, what's notable is that we saw that the U.S. Commerce Department is probing some of the fiber imports from Korea and Taiwan. So let's see how that impacts that industry, that sector. Watch the fiber sector, watch the goods that come in, you know, all the products that are produced in Korea and Taiwan. So you could see some retailers and specifically some names that the retailers sell could put some pressure. Now, August 11th is the target date to get the results of that probe. I don't know if it's going to be positive or negative, but I saw that come through, so I thought I'd pass it along to you guys. All right, folks, that is it right now for the Overnight Action Report. Join me at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to be talking about everything that's going on in Europe. It's an interesting session, to say the least. See you here at MarketStream.live.